Dominica and Costa Rica signed a Memorandum of Understanding for Ecotourism Development. Dominica to be officially launched as a wedding and honeymoon destination, and the Tourism Minister hails Carnival 2013 as a major success. Hello and thanks for joining us on this edition of National Focus. I'm Mervin.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Stay with us for the details of these and other stories right after the break.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day, only on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. A Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in Ecotourism was the highlight of a visit by officials from the government of Costa Rica late last month. The 6-member delegation from the Republic of Costa Rica was led by Minister for Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Enrique Castillo. The delegation also included Costa Rica's Minister for Agriculture and the senior government officials from the Ministries of Foreign Affairs and Tourism. The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in Ecotourism is expected to establish a framework for collaboration between Dominica and Costa Rica. The focal areas to be addressed are capacity building, the provision of technical assistance, and the organization of tourism field and exchange visits with particular emphasis on ecotourism. During the visit, the delegation met with a Dominican team headed by Honorable Dr. Colin McIntyre, Minister for Employment, Trade, Industry and Diaspora Affairs. Honorable Ian Douglas, Minister for Tourism and Legal Affairs, His Excellency Damien Dublin, Dominica's first non-resident ambassador to Costa Rica, and senior government officials from various ministries formed part of the Dominica delegation. That meeting served to discuss areas of cooperation between the two countries, including agriculture, human resource development, and the development of Dominica's biodiversity, among other new areas. According to a release from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the meeting also explored the possibility of establishing a formal arrangement that would strengthen the ties between the two countries and institutionalize cooperation activities. Dominica established diplomatic relations with Costa Rica in May of 2001.
In more news, customs brokers on the island will on Tuesday this week be engaged in a one-day workshop which will equip them with skills to assist in the phase-out process of ozone-depleting substances in the country. The workshop, organized by the Environmental Coordinating Unit of the Ministry of Environment, is scheduled for the Roseau Fisheries Complex. The session will focus mainly on the depletion of the ozone layer and international response, the role of custom brokers in Montreal Protocol compliance at the national level, and the role of the ASACUDA World. Ozone Officer at the Environmental Coordinating Unit, Bradley Guy, says the workshop will train the officers on proper classification of ozone-depleting substances, products, and refrigerants.
Custom brokers are very much in the forefront of doing the entries. So with the ozone-depleting substances, what has happened, every year we do our national reporting to the funding agencies. And for that, we need, the data of the entries of imports. Dominica does not export any ozone-depleting substances, so for that, we only deal with the imports. So we contact the customs department, which have been very helpful and very supportive in giving us those data. But the custom brokers are the main ones doing the entries. And sometimes, the entries are not done specifically. They are not basically highlighting the main ozone-depleting substances that we would like to have identified. So with that, with the online reporting, it's a criteria, it has to be standardized. So we are doing this training with them. As I mentioned, the new HS codes or harmonized codes has been implemented. So with that, they need to be aware for sure on on the proper classifications, you know, the numbers, etc.
The capacity building training exercise is being supported by the United Nations Environment Program Regional Office for Latin America and the Caribbean.
We secured assistance from the United Nations Environment Program in the name of Miss Donalyn Charles. She was here last year also during the customs training and had a very wonderful and interactive capacity building training. And thus, you know, we have secured it again that, you know, she come and conduct this training. Also from the Belize Custom Department, we have secured assistance from Mr. Lawrence Thompson, who is an expert in ASICUDA and risk management. So he's going to be facilitating most of the entries, examples to be done by the brokers. So we are quite happy by that.
As a party to the Montreal Protocol on substances that deplete the ozone layer, Dominica is committed to phase out the consumption and importation of all ozone-depleting substances. Dominica has successfully phased out chlorofluorocarbons and is currently implementing the hydrochlorofluorocarbon phase-out management plan, which aims to gradually eliminate the use of hydrochlorofluorocarbons in the atmosphere.
As Dominica continues to be marketed as an ecotourism destination, efforts are being made to attract more people to come to Dominica to have weddings and honeymoons. Tourism Minister Honorable Ian Douglas says this special tourism niche is an area which Dominica must seek to take advantage of.
When we look at the statistics around the world, we see that is $1 billion industry. Persons travel to get married, but romance has money. And so we need to get in on that activity, because most times a person gets married for once in their lifetime, and they want that time and that occasion to be very memorable and once in a lifetime. And so they travel with their family and their guests and stuff they want to invite to the wedding. And we have also found that globally or internationally, the recession has not really affected weddings and honeymoons, because no matter how bad it is, persons will continue to fall in love. Even if you don't have any money in your pocket, but that doesn't affect you falling in love and you wanting to get married and live the rest of your life with a partner. And so we believe that Dominica has a lot of unique attributes to place itself in that market, in that weddings and honeymoons market.
The Discover Dominica Authority plans to officially launch Dominica as a wedding and honeymoon destination on Wednesday this week. Minister Douglas says to facilitate foreigners getting married on Dominica, amendments had to be made to the island's Marriage Act.
And one of the changes was our Marriage Act to allow persons to come here and get married in one day, to relax on the residency restriction for getting married. We had to increase some of our fees. We had to give our marriage officers more latitude so that they could perform marriage ceremonies, not necessarily in a church setting, but maybe at the Emerald Pool, if persons so desire. So these are some of the things that we had to do, and now that we have done that through the Ministry of Community Development and Gender Affairs, really encouraged by the Ministry of Tourism, we are in a position now to really launch Dominica as a weddings and honeymoons destination in a big way. So at the Garaway on Wednesday, we'll be having a formal launching of Dominica's ability now to take advantage of the potential that exists in the wedding and honeymoons market. And we want all of Dominicans to know that, because there's potential in that area.
Dominica is considered to be one of the most exotic and romantic escapes in the Caribbean. Wedding locations range from the top of lush green mountains alongside the crystal clear waters of a towering waterfall or one of our freshwater lakes or the stunning botanic gardens. Well, Tanya Green, I'm sure that, you can be a strong advocate of this, because you yourself was married at the Botanic Gardens.
Yes, Mervin, you're so right. Back in 1998, I said I do against the backdrop of nature. And I think It's a wonderful initiative. It's a wonderful move by our Ministry of Tourism to encourage persons from outside to come into Dominica to have weddings and honeymoons. Dominica is regarded as one of the most beautiful countries in the Caribbean with many natural attributes. And I know that there are a lot of people who are nature-oriented would like to have some of that added to their most beautiful day in their lives.
Yeah, because I'm sure that for some people here, they have actually left the island to go and marry on a beach in St. Lucia.
Like yourself?
No, definitely not me. So, so what I'm saying is, I think more Dominicans should appreciate what they have, and I think in turn can encourage the foreigners themselves to come down and enjoy what we ourselves have to offer in Dominica.
Okay, so persons wishing to come to Dominica to get married, you may book your arrangements or your wedding packages through our local hotels here, or you could get in touch with the Discover Dominica Authority. And communities across the island are expected to benefit from a project funded by the Canadian International Development Agency, CIDA. CIDA has provided $22.3 million to the Federation of Canadian Municipalities to spearhead local economic development programs in 7 Caribbean countries, including Dominica. Jeremiah Benoit is the Local Economic Development Officer of the Caribbean Local Economic Development CARI-led project. He explained that throughout the region, officers work with village councils to identify projects.
We're working with 50 village councils in 7 countries to develop 500 micro, small or medium enterprises. So it's really a grassroots thrust for urban development, not urban development, but development across the country. The fundamental fact about it is that we want it to be from the ground up so that people can take their ideas from idea to implementation.
Ideas for implementation have been identified in the communities of Wesley and Woodford Hill. Benoit explained that emphasis will be placed on improving food security.
There's a keen interest in livestock, animal husbandry, a keen interest in fishing, also a keen interest in health and wellness in terms of coconut oil, and these sort of local products are coming back on stream. So we see sectors that are based in food security, and I think that will augur well for our economy in terms of reducing food imports in Dominica.
The impact of the CARI-led program is expected to have a positive impact on the entire country.
As a result of this, we see the wider investment climate improving. For example, with the planned improvement of the playing field, you might find sporting events. So the MSMEs will benefit when these sporting events are facilitated there, you know, and also the young people will be empowered that they themselves can become entrepreneurs through things like facilitating community-based sports leagues, which has been done before under UNESCO through the Hotspots program. So they can expand on this to develop it as a business and bring business to Woodford Hill, Wesley.
In other news, agricultural officials here continue to promote diversification within the sector. Director of Agriculture Ricky Bruman says this is part of efforts by the current administration to increase competitiveness and creativity among locals.
We work with a number of strategic crops, and this would include, for example, our root crops. And by root crops, I'm talking about yams and dashings and sweet potatoes, for example. We can talk about coconuts and cocoa and coffee and passion fruit, ginger, as some of those strategic crops that we would be working. But there are other crops that is important to in our diets, for example, or can meet niche markets for us if we launch into them. We're talking about herbs and spices, medicinal plants. We're talking about new crops and exotic crops that are important to us as well. So it goes from our own our nutrition needs, our own dietary needs, also from our export needs. So we're talking coconuts, cocoa, all of that, down to our vegetables, our herbs and spices, and so on. So the gamut, in fact, is wide.
The idea of diversification also supports the overall vision for the sector by agriculture officials.
But the vision for the sector is to build a sustainable agricultural sector that provides food development and prosperity for our country. People often say that we are an agricultural-based economy. This is largely true. And as you know, the sector still contributes about between, say, 12 to 15% to GDP and employs about 25% of the population. So it is still very significant. It's the single most important sector in terms of employment.
And finally, this news time, Minister for Tourism, Honorable Ian Douglas, is pleased with the successful staging of this year's Carnival celebrations. Dominica's Carnival Street Parade was held on February 11 and 12 this year, with no major incidents being reported. The minister, in speaking to GIS News on Monday, said he's satisfied with the outcome of events.
I believe that the public's reaction was one of satisfaction from the opening of Carnival right through to last lap on Tuesday. Of course, we've heard numerous remarks and compliments being directed to the police. They did a very good job. We're very happy and we congratulate them. We're very happy because we always stress and emphasize from the beginning of Carnival to the end, we really would like to have an incident-free Carnival, and that was exactly what happened this year, and we're very happy for that. I think the police did a marvelous job, very efficient. All the bands on the road cooperated. All of the revelers, you know, were very happy with the way that thing.
The tourism minister said rural carnival celebrations went well based on the impressive participation of communities across the island. Honorable Douglas is pleased that all events throughout the carnival season, including the fringe events, were well positioned to contribute to the overall success of Carnival 2013.
Traditionally, the Queen Show has a modest attendance, and this year that was not the case. This year, the Queen Show was very well attended, and we're very heartened and very encouraged because of that. All of the young ladies gave world standard performances. We're very happy. The Queen Show was of a very high standard. Of course, while we are not responsible for the Calypso shows and the Calypso aspect of Carnival, but I believe that the Dominica Calypso Association have been very pleased with the way that things went throughout, from eliminations right through to the finals. I mean, the finals probably had close to maybe 10,000 persons. All of the Calypsos were well received on the road on Monday and Tuesday, and all of the bands, WCK, Triple K, Fanatic, Swinging Stars, everybody, you know, contributed to making this year's Carnival a great success.
On the question of private sector participation, Honorable Douglas responded that corporate citizens were all instrumental in the successful staging of this year's Carnival.
We believe that the private sector participation continues to improve every year, and we hope that that is a growth trend. We hope that that is a growing and improving trend, that more and more private sector persons will come on board, because at the end of the day, capital and funding makes the Carnival successful, and it cannot just be about government only pumping money into the Carnival. Carnival, yes, while Carnival is a tourism product, and while we put Carnival on really, and we use Carnival to expose the destination and to entice persons to come to the destination for that big event called Carnival, but at the end of the day, it's also a local activity where a lot of small businesses and other local persons, taxi drivers, tour operators, the hotels, the bars and restaurants generate a lot of revenue as a result of patrons purchasing various items from those establishments.
The tourism minister thanked all those who contributed to the success of the 2013 Carnival celebrations.
We really, again, would like to thank all the people who work very hard, because while we revel on the streets on Monday and Tuesday, but there are a lot of silent persons or unnamed persons who continue to work very hard behind the scenes. So the committee, the Discover Dominica Authority persons, the persons at the Dominica Festivals Committee, and all of the other persons, the persons who work with the Calypso Associations, the sponsors, you know, all of those persons, without them, I don't think Carnival would continue to be a success and would continue to grow. So we're very happy with the way that things went.
Currently, records of total visitor arrivals during the Carnival season are still being compiled. GIS News will bring you more on that information as soon as it becomes available. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, relation qui Dominique et puis Venezuela, ça a bénéficié pays là par arrangement pétro-caribéen. Parole celle-là sortie du ministère qui a une responsabilité pour la sécurité nationale, Honorable Charles Savren.
Arrangement ALBA, ça c'est pays association comme Dominique, Venezuela, sans fait sans pays Latin America, Central America. Arrangement celle-là, pas Venezuela, c'est ce pays-là qui trouvait un grand réserve en bagage l'huile pétrole. Arrangement là, ça Venezuela qui fait gaz, c'est diesel, qui a produit ça dans le pays, même Alba, avec ça payé la moitié, un pourcentage quand il fait quand ils ont acheté la commodité là, avec la restant l'argent là, ils ont mis ça dans le fond.
En autre nouvelle, plusieurs bagailles qui ont fait attention qui concernent le projet chimie Wall House qui a réparé à présent. Monsieur Félix Thomas, c'est contracteur à ce projet-là.
Nous tous, contracteurs là, c'est en chimie à la communauté nous. C'est pas tout le gouvernement ça fait. So il y a des bagailles qui bien nécessaires là où faire chimie on est pour bailler ça qui est curb pour empêcher l'eau rentrer à Caïmon. Nous même qu'à mettre ça par contre nous qui est ça complementary. Il y a des places qui besoin dalle devant la porte monde. Ça pas été à sous bagaille qu'on mais nous même qu'à mettre ça qu'on complementary as well. OK, so regardez comment de regarder there OK la morceau miwa est tombé à son drain. Avant nous quitter nous qu'à ranger ça avec parce que pendant temps gouvernement qu'a fait ça IP mon area là il y a un comité site qui a fait un patch travail tout so nous même qu'a travailler ça mais veut try aider pour faire yon des petits bagages ça là au site avec quand regarder OK le nombre nous avons 20 hommes à tout qui travail tout par là aujourd'hui là parce que nous avons des trois machines qui croisent chimie là que il a prend un petit temps pour faire travail là parce que nous pas mettre gros machines comme caterpillar ou baco ou ces bagages ça là pour nettoyer pour faire ça nous qui excavation nous signer service énorme là parce que il y a l'eau à communauté là qui pas qu'à faire rien avec nous les mettre pour yo ça faire des trois $10 pour yo ça occuper quoi yo est-ce qu'on pense.
En autre nouvelle, le gouvernement Dominique, ça c'est pas ministre éducation, qui a poussé devant Education Enhancement Project. Sinon, on parole qui sorti, qui a des teachers ensemble et puis des lecturers State College Dominique, déjà tapé trainement en bas programme là. 6 les autres officiers d'éducation qui ont tapé trainement en affaires éducation, psychology et puis speech therapy. Ministère d'éducation, Honorable Peter Saint-Jean, déjà fait parole que si étudiant ni a tapé bon éducation, teacher mérité aussi votre traitement. Honorable Saint-Jean aussi fait parole que le gouvernement Dominique a poussé devant et puis civique. Finalement, Environmental Coordinating Unit qui tient un traitement pour Moon Customs Brokers. Trainement ça là, c'est pour éduquer yo bagay qui concerne bitin yo ka manager à ce pour là. Ça ou que aux zones de potent substances et puis certains dangers ça peut affecter environ là. Monsieur Bradley Guy, c'est officier Environmental Coordinating Unit.
Training ça avec Miss Donalyn Charles, had United Nations Environment Program, Regional Office in Panama. Et monsieur Lawrence Thompson, et qui travaille avec Custom Department à Belize. Il est venu pour faire capacity training ça avec ses custom brokers. Pour si c'est plus pour compliance à Montreal Protocol là. Là, si nous pas fait ces training ça avec ces custom brokers, custom et ces technicians refrigeration and condition, nous ça want à non-compliance avec Montreal Protocol de Montréal. Et ça qui a fait, si nous pas fait ça, monde qui a gagné ces gars ça, c'est quoi business, il qui affecte fonctionnement non?
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, c'est Luce. Au revoir.
Thank you, McPherson. When we come back, we'll bring you the tip of the day. Don't go away.
Today we'll talk to you about the importance of self-leadership. In today's work and home places, we all have the opportunity to lead. Leadership comes in many forms. There are those who have the position of leadership, and yet the truth is, leadership is a behavior, not a position. All of us have the opportunity to lead every day through the choices we make and the actions we take. This is self-leadership.
Self-leadership is leading from within. When we see the leadership within ourselves, we understand we can make important things happen in large and small ways. This kind of leadership allows us to explore other possibilities for ourselves and to be active in creating solutions to challenges of our lives. Self-leadership is making the choices to be who we are, to find joy in our work, and to create the life we want. These choices are active and determine our life's journey. When we lead from within, we have the courage to accept the things we cannot change and to change the things we wish were different in our lives. When we believe in ourselves, everything becomes possible. It's all inside.
And that's all for this edition of National Focus. We always welcome your suggestions and comments. Drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you could visit our website at news.gov.dm. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Mervin Matthew.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching.